Okay, so looking at handling our null values in our data set. So if we run df_is_null.sum, you can see we have two cases of null values, the generation name and the year. So if we run the generation name with, so df generation name to look at just that series, just that column, we'll run value counts underscore counts on that. And you can see here, there isn't really often occurring. There isn't really one that occurs so much more often than the other ones that we could just fill this with. So what we can do, we should fill this null value, and I think the best thing to do is fill this with unknown value, because we just don't know what this is, and it's very hard to figure out the best value to replace this with. So what we'll do is df generation is equal to df generation name, and so what we want to do is dot fill NA. And so we're going to fill it with a string. So we're going to go unknown. And so unknown. So we'll fill that, and then we'll run value counts again. And you can see here that we got the 38,000 null values filled with unknown, and now it's coming up the highest time. There are other ways that we could fill this, but this is a nice, quick, simple, easy way to keep this value non-null. So here, as we saw up here, we have one null value in year. So let's take a look at that before we figure out how we're going to fill it. So if we go df, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use logical enter. So we'll go df again and look at just the year, and we want to see if that is null. This is going to return. So this is our logical operator right here. This is our logical operator. So it's going to return trues and falses for the series. And if we put that into the first square brackets of the data frame, we're going to get just the row that is null. And so that will allow us to inspect just the row that is null. And you can see here where year is null, we can see this. And it seems like a fairly normal column. There doesn't seem to be anything special about it. And so we probably should keep it because it's only one. So what we can do is, I wanted to take a look at if the mileage was, this is dual logical indexing. So let's add a little bit of space here. So we have one logical indexing right here that says if the mileage is greater than 65,000, so similar to this car, 68,000. So if it's bigger than 68,000 and the mark is a fiat, and then we're going to do a value counts of the year. So really just kind of slimming this down by the type so that we can fill this with a certain value, the most occurring value. And you can see here that G1 from our engineered feature, the oldest category that we have for our year is G1. So we have 788, and we'll use that G1 to fill the value. So we'll start off this with df square brackets, and we get year, and we're going to say that's equal to df year, and we'll go dot fill NA, and we're going to fill it with G1 because we know that's the most reoccurring value. So let's make sure we run this, and let's lastly check if all of our null values have been handled. So let's go df is null sum, and you can see here we have all of our null values completely handled. So now let's head into this dummies section. So just to iterate, we're going to just take a quick little peek at our data set to familiarize ourselves with our data. And we're going to go df. So to get dummies, we're going to go one hot and code our category features. And so we're deciding on just fuel and just year. So we have 4 categories in year, and the fuel type, I believe we have 6. So we'll go pd.getDummies. We'll give it the full data frame, but we're going to say which columns from that we want. So we're giving it a list of fuel and year. Even if it's one value, you still need to put it in as a list, just to be aware of. So we'll run this cell right here, and we'll print out the head of ours so we can expect and show what the one hot coding looks like. So you can see here we have fuel as CNG, fuel diesel, and it is a 1 when that is a true, when it was a diesel, and 0 for the rest. So you can see here that all the other rows are 0 except for the 1 true, the diesel. And this is how we convert a category column or category feature into one hot encoded features. So we have now a way to represent that. And you can see here in year 3, when year 3 is 2, or your G3 is true, we have 1, and then all the rest would be 0. So only one of these 4 is ever going to be 1 at a time. And this allows our model to build coefficients based off these values. When it's 1, it's true, and when it's 0, it's nothing. Awesome. So we'll head into the modeling section next.